Welcome to Winder Works, the official podcast of the City of Winder. Join us today as we go behind the scenes to learn from the people, projects, and progress shaping our community. Now, let's get ready to dive into the initiatives that make Winder a great place to live, work, and visit. Welcome, everyone, to this month's edition of Winder Works podcast. We have a very special guest with us this month. We have Ms. Talore Ruedt, the city's Director of Special Events. Welcome, Ms. Ruedt. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I am doing well. So, typically on these, we just jump right in. So I'm going to hit you with the hard question first.
All right.
Tell everybody out there about Talore.
So I have been with Winder for about a year and a half now. I started in May of last year. I'm originally from Wisconsin. Born and raised there, moved to Georgia. I think I've been here about a decade now, and I've been in Gwinnett County the whole time.
Okay.
I've got a couple dogs, a couple cats. Actually, you probably saw Hazel if you watched our most recent Spooktacular promo. She was the very ferocious lion.
Is she going to be out signing autographs at Spooktacular and taking pictures with the kids?
She's not about at the fanfare, so she'll be at home that day. Yeah.
All right, that's fair. So how did Talore get to Winder?
I was recruited by the previous events director. I used to work with her in City of Duluth.
Okay, great. So tell us a little bit about your experience so far in Winder, what you've seen, and where you see us going in terms of events and how we can capitalize on what we have.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I think we've seen a lot of growth in event attendance over the past year and a half. And as the downtown continues to develop and grow, we just expect that to grow even more as our event lineup continues to grow.
All right.
It's a lot of fun offering all of these different events. We usually do monthly. We're getting into our busy season. We've got 4 big events coming up in the next couple of months.
Tell us a little bit about those. That'll start getting kicked off, some before the podcast airs, and definitely some after.
The next one I think is going to be before this comes out, so that's Spooktacular. Some fun facts about that is we have purchased 58,850 pieces of candy to pass out.
And let me guess, you won't have any left after the event.
No, we will probably run out before the end. And that is thanks to our fire department because they like to hand out handfuls at a time. So don't miss the fire department tent.
So now we know where to charge the candy too. Okay, perfect.
They get the little bit lower end cost candy because they give out in bulk.
Challenge accepted, fire department.
We've got about 1,000 clown noses to pass out. I feel like our council members are going to have fun giving those out to the kids. And we've got about 50 trick-or-treat vendors in total that are going to be there that night.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And the theme this year is Winder's 3-Ring Circus. So we'll have circus performers walking around. We'll have a circus show at 7:30, costume contest, all that fun stuff.
Will there be anybody walking around with like a giant python?
I've seen the public bring their unique animals. Okay. I heard last weekend there was a turtle at Finished Goods, so you never know what they'll bring out.
Did you say a turtle?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so that would be a unique one. That would be very unique. That's, welcome to Winder. We welcome all animals.
And all of those pets can enter the pet contest.
All right, that is good to know. Everybody make note of that, for future events that we do allow pets.
Yeah.
All right.
And then next up, we've got Jug Tavern Festival. That will be on November 8th. That's going to be a big one. We've got car show. New this year is a children's entrepreneur market, which is kids will come in from 12 to 3 and set up their own booth, and they're selling handmade goods, arts and crafts type thing. It's a good way for them to learn about owning and operating a small business and just getting them in front of the public.
Okay.
We also have the hot air balloons are coming back. So as long as the wind plays in our favor, that will be from 5 to 8 p.m. And swinging medallions are returning that day as well.
So swinging medallions is a pretty popular attraction.
They are.
Can you explain to everybody listening why people love to come out and see them and why they are so popular?
They are just a high energy dance band. I don't know much about their history, but I think they got their start somewhere around the Barrow County area. They seem to have a pretty big following here.
Good. Well, that'll be fun. Now, what about, what do you have coming up November and December? I hear that there's a couple things going on then.
Yep. So Jug Tavern Festival is November 8th, 12 to 8 p.m. And then November 20th, we have our tree lighting. That is moving down to Jug Tavern Park this year. So it'll be a little bit larger than last year. We'll have Santa and some few other fun activities. So that's from 6 to 8 at the park. Applications are still open for that. So if you're interested in coming out, those will close on November 17th. And then the last event of the year is our Christmas parade. That is December 13th from 2 to 5:30 p.m. And we only have about 20 spots open for the parade right now. So if you're interested in joining us for that, make sure you apply soon.
So how many floats or entries do we typically have for that Christmas parade?
Depending on the number of vehicles each approved applicant has, we have anywhere from 50 to 60 floats.
Okay. And that still goes from our Ingalls on Broad Street down to the park.
Yep, it'll start at Ingalls and end down at Jug Tavern Park, where we have Santa's after party with Santa. We'll have a DJ, some characters, food trucks, vendors, rides, all of that.
All right. So for the public listening that they don't get to see what Taylor and all of our volunteers do leading up to that event. Can you just kind of walk them through the process? You know, they show up for the parade, they see the great stuff and have a great time, but they don't probably understand what happens up until that point.
Yeah, months or even a year of planning goes into most of these events. I'm actually going to be taking our 2026 lineup to council here in the next week or so. And then once they approve that, we get started right away planning next year. There's a lot of stuff on the back end, like creating applications, trying to recruit vendors, securing all of the entertainment. And some of that you have to get pretty far in advance. We tried to get swinging medallions for our show this year, and they were booked up. And we actually tried to book them for an event next July, and they were already booked. So some of these bands you have to get in pretty early to get them secured.
Yeah, I mean, and that's something I don't know that the public really kind of wraps their head around. So when you go to council, and asking them for the events, you're already having to tell them budget numbers and what each event's going to cost and what the estimated attendance are. How do you make the money go the farthest for each event and to make sure the public gets the most out of what we're doing?
We try and offer as many free and low cost activities at the events as we can. But some of the ways that we are able to kind of cut costs on our part is pay to play activities. So a lot of our inflatables and rides and stuff are pay to play. That's just because to pay for that outright would be very expensive. And not everyone participates in it. So that's an easy one to kind of let the consumer pay for. And then just good relationships with our entertainment providers. And we try and bundle some of our services. So we'll book a few events at a time, and we can sometimes get a discount if we do it that way.
Okay. No, I mean, and I think that's great, you know, and every once in a while we'll have an event that kind of just exceeds our expectations. How do you deal with being I don't want to call it a victim, but a victim of your own success? How do you say, okay, this year we had a great event. What do we do next year? Because now people expect that.
Always trying to grow and come up with new ideas. I've got an ideas list, just always running, always adding ideas to the list, because the community always wants something new. Even if it's the same event, you have to do something fresh. Something that we do that's a little bit more, formal is we do after action reports after every event, and we kind of detail what it took to create that event, and then we put in some actions for improvement, and that comes from not just myself, but other staff members that are working. It comes from the community. People come up to us at the event and say, we love this, but we'd love to see this. We always take note of that, and we try our best to implement what we can.
And that's good for the public to know. So how does someone get involved if they want to, volunteer and help out? How do they reach out? How do they get in touch and get involved in those processes?
We don't have a ton of volunteer opportunities for just the general public. If we have volunteer opportunities, they're usually reserved for the school, like the Beta Club or National Honor Society. We have a lot of staff internally that help run the events, but getting involved, if you have a business or want to be a vendor, all of those applications are online. They usually open 5 to 6 months before the events are held. Okay. And we recommend getting your applications in early because we have a lot of direct competition. We try and limit competition. So if we have one jewelry vendor apply, we're not going to approve 2. So get your applications in early if you're interested in coming out.
Yeah. So how would you see, I'm a vendor and I've got, 3 events that are essentially all on the same day. How would you use technology to make sure that, we're promoting, hey, you really want to come to Winder? We can show you how many people show up. We can show you, hourly, what these events typically do. How do you do that? So
we have access to a platform called Placer AI, and we use that after the events to go in and look and see what kind of crowd we had. And that software allows us to not only see where they're coming from, what their demographics are, but how long they spent in the space, what businesses they went to before and after, and that kind of helps us and helps our downtown businesses plan better for future events. We can see where they're going, and if they're leaving to go to a restaurant, how do we get them to stay here longer? So we kind of use all of that data to help us form next year's events.
Good. All right. So you brought up a good point, when, downtown businesses, how do our events help the downtown businesses, and how do we help them through our events, keeping people downtown after the events.
Yeah, absolutely. So events are really a great marketing tool. It gets people down here to lay eyes on your businesses. We keep all the businesses informed as to what the events are going to be, what the themes are going to be. That way they can kind of tie themselves in with specials or activities. Sometimes they'll do face painting themselves there, and that kind of ties them into what we're doing. When we're setting up for the events, we do our best to highlight them and not block them. So we never put vendors in front of them if it can be avoided. And then after the event, with this new Placer AI technology, we'll be able to update them and tell them, here's the people that came down here. Here's who you should be targeting going forward, because these are your clientele.
No, and I think that's beneficial. And, I know we city had a joint meeting with the DDA in the month of October, and everybody's on the same page. We want downtown to be vibrant, and I appreciate, and I know everyone does appreciate how we coordinate with them. If you had a grand vision of the perfect day for businesses and an event, how would you lay that out with no restrictions, no money limitations? How would you do that? What's your ideal day for that?
Probably in the fall, so not too hot.
That's a great start.
So like Spooktacular.
That's a great start.
And then I think closing roads is kind of a sore subject with some, especially our businesses, because it can be harder to get to them. But closing the roads and really connecting kind of Jackson Plaza to Jug Tavern Park is what makes the downtown feel really connected, in my opinion. So events like Spooktacular, where we close from pretty much the whole downtown and you can walk the entire thing, that creates a great atmosphere, and you can really experience all the businesses.
Okay. So essentially, I think people take it for granted. We have a very walkable downtown.
We do.
And I know people seem to have an issue with where parking is. I would just encourage them to just park and walk, and
it might be a little controversial, but I don't think we have a parking problem.
No. I think we have somebody said we have a walking problem. Yes.
I have never, maybe Christmas parade, parking was probably a little bit hard. Yeah. But generally parking is not hard. You are going to have to walk a little bit. There's almost always parking at the community center or behind the Cultural Arts Center. Mm-hmm. So check there first. And all of our parking is free.
Yeah. And I can speak from an administration side. I've never heard once somebody say we're ever going to charge for a parking spot. So no matter what we do, I think the intention is to keep free parking. So as we start wrapping up here, I think there's something you kind of want to share with everybody that's listening and give them a little nugget of what might be coming.
So we announced this event, I think a couple months ago, but we haven't shared many details on it. Mm-hmm. Traditionally, we host a Celebrate Winder event in July. Next year, being the 250th birthday of America, we are going to host a Celebrate America event. It's going to be probably one of the largest events Winder's ever had.
I think that's probably safe, yeah.
It'll start with a parade, so that'll be the same parade as our Christmas parade route, starting at Ingalls and coming down through the park. We will have fireworks. We've got a big band. It'll be names that most of you will know, and we'll be announcing that soon. During the day, we'll have lots of kind of all-American type fun activities. We'll have some contests, some hot dog eating contests, some most patriotic contests. So start thinking about how you want to participate there. And applications will be opening for the parade and to be a vendor at that event in February.
Do you think that those spots are going to fill up fairly quickly?
I think they will.
So how soon when they open would you recommend somebody applying?
I would recommend applying right away. Okay. We won't be approving right away, but getting your application in early is key.
Okay.
And we will, if you have been a vendor of ours in the past, you will receive an email letting you know that applications are open.
Yeah. Have you had any interest in anyone being a sponsor for that event? Because I know that's a big thing with what we do. We do ask for sponsors that help us bring those events in.
Yep. We haven't really been promoting it a whole lot yet, so we haven't reached out to anyone. We haven't had anyone reach out to us, but we do expect have some people come in, and if you are interested, let me know.
Everyone listening, if you would like to be a part of this event, reach out to Taylor, and we'll get your name and input on everything that we do.
Yep.
I know we kept saying we're going to wrap up. Sponsorships are a big thing. Mm-hmm. How do you tell someone that, hey, or ask somebody, hey, we'd like you to be a sponsor? What do they get for that?
So Sponsorship differs from being just a vendor, because as a vendor, you just come out and set up your booth. As a sponsor, you get to do that as well, but you get some kind of bonus perks. You're on our event page, hyperlinked logo, so anytime someone goes to check out the event, they're going to see your logo and then go right to your website. That's both on Facebook and the website.
Okay.
And then you are mentioned in our press release, depending on the level. A lot of our posts will have you tagged in it, and then depending on the level you're at, you might be on print material, in videos. So it's really about getting your name out there and showing that you're supporting the community. And then we're always open to custom packages as well. So if you have an idea, let us know.
There you go. You guys heard it. If you want to provide any sponsorships for events, and I think that's something too. I know we have talked about it internally, that we typically do seasonal type sponsorships, but the Celebrate America is going to be a little different in terms of sponsorships. If you want to explain
we
that
do
a
offer single event sponsorships for everything. They're not as common as the bigger seasonal, because the seasonal packages get you more visibility with the public. But being that the Celebrate America event is going to be a one-time event, really big, we're going to be looking for single event sponsorships for that, and that one will not be tied into our seasonal package this year.
So real quick, I know we've had a rough season, and by season I mean everything from torrential downpours to gale force winds that have happened when we've tried to have events, and the public has probably seen that we've had to make tough decisions and cancel events. Can you explain the decision-making process when that goes in? And then, I know a lot of people may get upset when those events aren't immediately rescheduled, as to the logistics that go into that.
I think a common misconception is that we can easily reschedule events. It's not as easy as it may seem. A lot of our entertainment and our vendors are not available to reschedule. Even if it's the next day or the next week, their schedules are full, and we would love to reschedule. We put a lot of work into planning the events. I think the last one, we were completely set up for, all of the vendors were set up, and then we got hit with torrential downpour. So we hate to cancel as much as you hate for us to cancel, and we would love to reschedule. This is not always an option.
Yeah, and I know you all do your best to, if a vendor is paid to be here, either we offer them their money
Absolutely,
back or a spot in a future event, correct?
Yep. And what most commonly happens is let's say we have a face painter scheduled, we'll reschedule them for another event instead of just rescheduling that event. So we can sometimes save some of our money there from the canceling, but rescheduling a whole event is a challenge.
I understand, and it's. I know the public may think it's an easy decision, but typically there's a whole lot of process that goes into that between you all, Public Works, the police department, everyone involved makes that decision ahead of time. Yep. All right. So, is there one other teaser or hint you can give people about the announcement coming on November 5th?
Bye.
All right. We'll just let that one marinate for a while and let people make their assumptions, and we'll go ahead and say thank you, Taylor.
All right,
and
thank you.
I think we're all very excited about the announcement, so I can't wait to see it.
It should be fun. We can't wait.
All right. Thank you, Taylor.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Winder Works. We hope you enjoyed the show today. Stay informed by following the City of Winder on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And make sure to visit www.cityofwinder.com to learn more about Winder, the City of Opportunity.